Did you know there's a date marked on the prophetic calendar that most churches completely ignore? William Branham didn't just prophesy vague events like so many do out there. He saw specific moments, precise details, names of people who hadn't even been born yet. And there's a vision about what will happen when the prophetic clock strikes the final hour. A vision that, if correct, means the time of Gentile grace is running out much faster than you could ever imagine. If you have plans for the future, you might need to reconsider everything after hearing what I'm about to reveal to you right now. In June of 1933, on a Sunday morning in Jeffersonville, Indiana, a young preacher of only 24 years old was preparing to teach Sunday school. His name was William Marion Branham. He had been born in a poor cabin in the mountains of Kentucky, the first of 9 children from a family with no religious background whatsoever. But on that June morning, something supernatural happened. While he was in a trance, 7 consecutive visions passed before his eyes. 7 major events that would have to take place before the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. Branham himself declared in his own words that the Lord said his coming was approaching. But before he came, 7 major events would have to occur. He wrote down each one of those visions, and that very morning, before his congregation, he proclaimed everything he had received. People listened, some believed, others laughed, but time would prove every single word. Of the 7 visions Branham received that morning in 1933, 6 have already been fulfilled with terrifying accuracy. The 7th vision still awaits its fulfillment. And when you understand the mathematical pattern hidden within these prophecies, you'll realize why so many scholars are looking at the approaching period with trembling knees. I know you're watching this from somewhere across America. Maybe you're in Texas, California, Florida, or perhaps the Midwest or the East Coast. Tell me in the comments what state you're watching from right now. I need to know where the ones hungry for prophetic truth are located across this nation. Branham was no ordinary man. From childhood, he had supernatural experiences that marked him. At 7 years old, while walking down a road, a whirlwind struck a tree nearby, and an audible voice spoke words he would never forget. The voice told him to never drink, smoke, or defile his body in any way, for there would be a work for him to do when he got older. Years later, on June 11, 1933, while baptizing the 17th person in the Ohio River, something extraordinary happened. Before a multitude, a ball of fire descended from heaven and hovered above him. A voice spoke, saying that just as John the Baptist was sent to forerun the first coming of Christ, his message would forerun the second coming. People saw the light, some fainted, others fled in fear. But the commission was given. A ministry had begun that would shake nations and prepare a people for something that was to come, something that we, in this generation, are about to witness. To understand the seriousness of what I'm about to reveal, you first need to know the visions that have already been fulfilled. Because when you see the track record of a prophet, you start paying much closer attention to what he said is still yet to come. The first vision showed Branham that Benito Mussolini would invade Ethiopia. The voice told him that Ethiopia would fall at the feet of the Italian dictator. But it also prophesied a dreadful end for Mussolini, where he would have a horrible death and his own people would literally spit on him. This was spoken in 1933, 2 years before the invasion actually happened. In 1935, Mussolini invaded Ethiopia exactly as the vision had shown. And in 1945, the dictator was captured by Italian partisans, executed, and his body was hung upside down in a public square where the people literally spat on him. Every detail was fulfilled. The second vision indicated that America would be drawn into a world war against Germany. The vision showed an Austrian named Adolf Hitler rising as a dictator and dragging the world into a devastating war. The voice said this terrible war would destroy Hitler and bring him to a mysterious end. Remember, this was seen in 1933, when Hitler was still consolidating power. The vision also showed the Siegfried Line, where the American army would pay a great price for victory. American soldiers shed much blood at that German defense line, and Hitler met his mysterious end in a bunker in Berlin, exactly as was predicted. The third vision revealed that there would be 3 great isms in the world: fascism, Nazism, and communism. The first 2 would come to nothing, but communism would flourish. The voice commanded Branham to watch Russia concerning future events. because both Nazism and fascism would be swallowed up by communism. Look at history. Fascism fell with Mussolini, Nazism fell with Hitler, but communism spread across Russia, China, Cuba, and influenced nations around the world. To this day, the echoes of that ideology still reverberate in the corridors of global power. The fourth vision showed a tremendous technological advancement that would come shortly after the war. Branham saw an egg-shaped car with a plastic bubble-like top traveling on an advanced highway. The most striking thing was that the car had no driver. It was completely guided by remote control, and the people inside appeared to be playing a game while traveling. This was seen in 1933. Autonomous cars, driverless vehicles. Technology that only now, nearly a century later, is becoming reality on the streets of major cities. Branham saw our time before we were even born. The fifth vision had to do with the moral decay of women. He saw women cutting their hair, wearing men's clothing, adopting behaviors that would scandalize anyone from that era. The vision showed a progressive degradation until women were practically naked, covered only by something the size of a fig leaf. You look at society today and see exactly what was shown. Modesty has disappeared. Moral standards have crumbled. What was shameful became fashion. What was hidden is now displayed. Every detail of that vision is right before our eyes. The sixth vision showed an extremely beautiful woman rising up in the United States. She was clothed in great splendor and wielded immense power. Her countenance was beautiful, yet there was a terrible severity about her. Beautiful, but cruel, wicked and cunning. She dominated the country with her authority and had complete control over the people. Branham felt in his heart that this woman represented either a literal figure who would rule America or a religious system that is biblically symbolized as a woman. He associated this with the rise of an apostate religious power. The times we live in show this reality forming before our very eyes. If this message is touching you, leave your name in the comments below. I want to pray for you and your family. Write your name and what state you're from. Now we come to the point that makes the heart race, the seventh vision, the only one that has not yet been fulfilled. The vision that describes the final destiny of a nation and possibly the world as we know it. After showing the cruel woman dominating America, the voice commanded Branham to look once more. And when he looked, he saw something that left him in shock. A great explosion burst over the nation. The American land was left smoking in complete ruin. In Branham's own words, recorded in his sermons, he said that as far as he could see, he saw nothing but craters, piles of smoking rubble, without any trace of human life in sight. Then the vision left him. Can you imagine the weight of carrying such a vision for over 30 years? Branham saw the destruction of an entire nation. He saw craters where cities once stood. He saw smoke where there once was life. And he had to preach this message, knowing that many would not believe. He also saw on other occasions that Los Angeles and part of California would sink into the sea. He told his own son, Billy Paul, that this would happen before he became an old man. Branham publicly warned that if people had friends or relatives in Los Angeles, they should get them out of there as quickly as possible. Now think with me. Look at the current scenario. Tensions between nations have never been higher since the Cold War. The agreements between the powers of the earth are rearranging in ways few predicted. Modern Babylon is negotiating with the merchants of the earth while the people sleep. The system of the beast is being assembled piece by piece. The control technology that Branham saw in that driverless car is the same technology that now tracks every movement, every purchase, every word you say. The sign is being prepared, the mark is being developed, and most people don't even notice because they're too entertained to look. The great division is happening, not just between nations, but between those who have eyes to see and those who have chosen blindness. The collapse of the old order is underway, and in the midst of it all, there exists a vision from 1933 that awaits its terrible fulfillment. Branham said that on that Sunday in 1933, he proclaimed all the visions the Lord had given him, and then he made a challenge. He asked if anyone could prove that any of those visions was wrong, if they had not all been fulfilled. And the answer he himself gave was yes, each one had been fulfilled or was being fulfilled at that very hour. Mussolini invaded Ethiopia victoriously and then fell and lost everything. Hitler started a war he could not finish and died mysteriously. Communism swallowed up the other isms. The plastic bubble car has been built and awaits better road systems. Women do everything except go completely naked, and even that is changing. 6 out of 7. An accuracy rate that no weatherman, no economist, no political analyst has ever achieved. And the 7th vision stands before us like a sword suspended over a civilization that has forgotten to fear the Lord. Here is the point that connects everything and reveals why so many are looking at the approaching period. Branham made a specific prediction based on his study of the Word and the visions he had received. In his book, An Exposition of the 7 Church Ages, he stated that the Laodicean age began around the turn of the 20th century, perhaps in 1906. And then he said something crucial. He stated that as a servant of God, who had had multitudes of visions of which none had failed, he would predict that this age would end around 1977. He was very careful with his words. He said, "Predict and not prophesy." He asked that people who listened to the tape remember that he was not saying it would certainly be so, but that it was his prediction based on study. This intellectual honesty shows the integrity of the man. But here's what scholars have begun to notice. In the Bible, there exists a pattern called the Jubilee. Every 49 years, in the 50th year, there was a restoration. Debts were forgiven, slaves were freed, lands returned to their original owners. It was a divine reset, a new beginning ordained by God himself. Now do the math. 1977 plus 49 years. That brings us to 2026, the year of the next prophetic jubilee from Branham's prediction. But there's more. Israel became a nation again in 1948. Jesus said the generation that saw the fig tree blossom would not pass away until all things were fulfilled. Psalm 90 says, "The days of our lives are 70 years, or if by reason of strength, 80. 1948 plus 80 years brings us to 2028. We are within that prophetic window. And why April specifically? The Lenten season. The 40 days of preparation before Easter, the period when God's people have always been called to consecrate themselves before the great events of redemption. Easter 2026 falls in April, and the 40 days preceding it are a call to preparation. I know what you might be feeling right now, a tightness in your chest, an urgency you can't explain, the question hammering in your mind about whether your house is prepared, whether your family is spiritually safe. When the death angel passed through Egypt, it didn't matter if the people knew he was coming. What mattered was whether they had the blood mark on their door. Knowledge without application saved no one that night, and it won't save anyone in what's coming. Do you have the blood of the Lamb applied to the door of your house? Are your children covered by divine protection? There is a consecration protocol that Branham taught in his messages, a step-by-step guide to spiritually fortify your home. It's what I call the Goshen Protocol, based on the land where Israel was protected while the plagues fell upon Egypt. I can't share all the details here in this video. The platform has its limitations, but I've left complete access to the Goshen Protocol in the first link in the description. It's 21 days of consecration, each day with specific instructions based on prophetic teachings. It costs less than a fast food meal, but it's worth your family's eternity. Don't wait until April 2026 to try to prepare. The link is in the description. Access it now while there's still time. 30 years after the visions of 1933, something even more extraordinary happened. At the end of 1962, Branham had a new vision. He saw mighty angels coming from eternity at such high speed that it produced a great explosion. They formed above him a constellation in the shape of a pyramid. He told this vision to his congregation in December of that year. He said something tremendous was about to happen. And then he moved to Tucson, Arizona, according to the guidance he had received. In February of 1963, while in the desert praying, the Lord placed in his hand the sword of the king. It was the word of God, sharper than any two-edged sword. This was the vindication of his ministry. God was determining the third phase of his commission. And then on February 28th, it happened. 7 mighty angels came from heaven at the speed of light. The noise was like the sound of a jet breaking the sound barrier. Branham was caught up in the midst of these 7 angels, and the 7th angel spoke, telling him to return to Jeffersonville because the 7 seals of the 7 mysteries would be opened. The world and scientists saw only a mysterious cloud in the Arizona sky. Life and Science magazines published photos of that inexplicable cloud that appeared at an altitude where no cloud should exist. But Branham and those who had eyes to see understood. It was a constellation of angels containing the mystery of the 7 seals of Revelation. From March 17th to 24th, 1963, Branham preached 7 consecutive nights on the 7 seals. Each night, before going up to the pulpit, he would enter his office and the angel would reveal to him the mystery of that specific seal. Then he would come out and preach what he had received. The recordings of these messages exist. They have been transcribed and translated into dozens of languages. The book, The Revelation of the 7 Seals, is available for anyone who wants to study. No one needs to rely only on my word. The sources are there to be verified. Branham taught that the 7th seal is the end of time for all things. The things written in the Book of Redemption, sealed from before the foundation of the world with 7 seals, all end there. It's the end of this troubled world, the end of troubled nature, the end of everything. In it we also find the end of the trumpets, the vials, the earth, and even time itself. Time ends, as the Bible tells us in Revelation 10, where the angel said that time would be no more. And this will be on the day when this great event takes place. But here's something many don't understand. Branham was emphatic in stating, after the revelation of the 7 seals, that Jesus Christ was still on the throne of intercession. Time had not yet ended. The literal second coming had not yet occurred. The revelation of the mysteries was given, but the final fulfillment still awaits. The prophetic clock is running, the hands are moving, and every revelation Branham received points to a period that is approaching with terrifying speed. Not some vague period in a distant future, a specific period that is right around the corner. We are living in the days when the 7th angel has begun to sound. The mystery of God is being finished, as he declared to his servants the prophets. And he who has ears to hear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to the churches. Look around you. The signs are everywhere for those who have eyes to see. The system of the beast is being assembled in real time before our very eyes. And most people are so distracted, they don't even notice the chains being forged. Branham saw that communism would swallow up the other isms, but he also taught that behind all political systems, there exists a spiritual power that manipulates nations like pieces on a chessboard. Modern Babylon is not just a city or a country. It's a system that traffics in the souls of men. The merchants of the earth are getting rich while preparing the stage for the final act. The agreement of nations is being stitched together in rooms no camera films. The kings of the earth are aligning exactly as Revelation described, and God's chosen people need to be awake. The technology Branham saw in that driverless car in 1933 was just the tip of the iceberg. Today, that technology is in every pocket, every home, every corner. It knows where you are. It knows what you buy. It knows what you say. It knows what you think before you even think it. The sign is being prepared. It's no longer science fiction. It's no longer conspiracy theory. It's the reality anyone can verify if they have the courage to look. The mark won't be imposed all at once. It's being normalized gradually, until refusing it will be practically impossible for those who aren't prepared. Branham warned to watch Russia, and look where geopolitical tensions are concentrated. The bear is moving, the eagle is responding, and in the middle of it all, the merchants continue trading while the clock counts down. The apostasy of the institutional church has reached levels Branham predicted with precision. He said the age would end with the church being spewed out of God's mouth, a lukewarm church, neither hot nor cold, rich in material things, but wretched, poor, blind, and spiritually naked. Look at the major denominations. Look at the mega churches with their lights and shows. Look at the preachers selling prosperity while avoiding talk of holiness. Look at the pulpits that have gone silent on sin so as not to offend the attendees. This is Laodicea in full fulfillment. But in the midst of it all, there exists a people, a remnant, a bride preparing herself for the meeting with her bridegroom. They are the ones who have not defiled themselves with the doctrines of Balaam, who have not bowed before apostate religious systems, who have kept their garments clean while the world around them wallowed in filth. If you're watching this and feel you don't belong to this system, that there's something more God has for you, that's no coincidence. The Spirit is calling his own out of Babylon before the judgments fall. The cry of Revelation 18 is sounding right now. Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins and that you receive not of her plagues. Share this video with someone you love, with someone who needs to hear this message before it's too late. Sometimes a simple share can be the instrument God uses to save a soul from the destruction that's coming. When the plagues fell upon Egypt, there was a place where God's people were protected. Goshen, the land God set apart for his own, while judgment devastated everything around. Darkness covered Egypt, but in Goshen there was light. The firstborn died throughout the land, but in the houses with blood on the doorpost, death passed over. This is God's pattern. He never sends judgment without first providing protection for his own. Before the flood, there was the ark. Before Sodom was destroyed, Lot was removed. Before the final plagues, there was Goshen. And before what's coming upon this generation, there is a place of safety for those who obey the instructions. Branham taught extensively about this protection. He explained that it's not enough to know that judgment is coming. You must apply the blood. You must be properly positioned. You must have the mark of God and not the mark of the beast. The difference between the Israelites and the Egyptians that night was not merely geographical. Many Israelites lived near Egyptians. The difference was the blood on the doorpost. Obedience to the prophetic instruction. Faith demonstrated in action. Today is no different. You may live in the same neighborhood as your unbelieving neighbor, work in the same office, shop at the same store, but when the angel of judgment passes through, the difference will be whether you have the spiritual covering applied over your house or not. Branham was commissioned to prepare a people for the rapture. He was sent as John the Baptist was sent, to make straight the paths, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to the fathers, so that the Lord would not come and strike the earth with a curse. This is the message of Malachi 4 verses 5 and 6. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord, and he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. The restoration is happening. Hearts are being turned back to the original faith, the faith of the apostles, the faith that was once delivered to the saints, not the diluted faith of denominations, not faith mixed with human traditions, the pure, original, powerful faith that moved mountains and faced empires. The Bride of Christ is not an organization. It's not a denomination. It's not a building with a sign on the door. It's a people washed in the blood of the Lamb, a people who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus, a people who are preparing for the meeting with their heavenly bridegroom. The rapture is not fable. It's not metaphor. It's the blessed hope of the true church. The dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. But to be raptured, you must be ready. The foolish virgins had lamps, but they had no oil. They knew the bridegroom, but they were not prepared when he arrived. The door closed, and they were left outside, knocking and crying in vain. Do you have oil in your lamp? Is your house consecrated? Is your family covered? Don't leave for the last minute what needs to be done now. The time for preparation is today. Tomorrow may be too late. Time is shorter than you think. I don't say this to create fear, but to awaken urgency. Fear paralyzes. Holy urgency mobilizes. And God is mobilizing an army of prepared worshipers in this final hour. Branham lived what he preached until his last day. In December of 1965, he was called home, but his message did not die with him. The tapes were preserved. The sermons were transcribed. The books were translated into dozens of languages. The prophetic word continues to echo for those who have ears to hear. He didn't point to himself. He pointed to Christ. The message was never about William Branham. It was about Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever. The goal was to restore the original faith, to bring the people back to the pure word, to prepare the bride for the meeting with the bridegroom. And that preparation continues. Every person who hears this message and responds is being positioned. Every family that consecrates itself is being protected. Every heart that turns to God is being sealed. The work has not ended. It's intensifying as the time approaches. Think of Noah. For 120 years he preached and built. People laughed, mocked, ignored. But when the rain began to fall, there was no more time to enter the ark. The door was already closed. God himself had shut it. There will be a moment when the door of grace will close. Not because God doesn't want to save, but because time will have run out. Intercession will have ended. The Lamb will have risen from the throne and taken the book. And then there will be no more time. We are on the threshold of eternity. The veil between this world and the next is thinner than ever. The signs are converging, the prophecies are aligning. And in the midst of it all, God is still calling. Come. Whoever is thirsty, let him come. Whoever wishes, let him receive freely the water of life. The door is still open. The blood is still available. Protection can still be applied. But action is required. I've left the complete Goshen protocol in the first link in the description. 21 days of consecration, each day with specific instructions based on prophetic teachings to spiritually fortify your home. It's not theory, it's practical application of the word. When the death angel passed through Egypt, he didn't ask who knew the story of Moses. He looked at the doorposts. Where there was blood, he passed over. Where there wasn't, he entered and executed judgment. The knowledge you received in this video won't protect you by itself. You must apply it. You must act. You must consecrate. Time is running out. April 2026 is closer than it seems, and the time for preparation is now. If you were touched by this message, don't ignore it. If the Spirit is speaking to your heart, respond. Leave in the comments what state you're from. Leave your family's name for prayer. Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving these revelations. And above all, apply what you've learned. The message of Elijah for this generation is not one of condemnation. It's one of preparation. It's not about fear. It's about faith. It's not about despair. It's about hope. Because greater is He that is in us than he that is in the world. The prophet came. The message was delivered. The seals were opened. The mysteries were revealed. Now it's up to each one of us to respond to the call and be positioned when the bridegroom comes for his bride. And he will come, as certain as the sun rises each morning, as certain as every previous prophecy was fulfilled. He will come. The question is not if, the question is when, and the most important question of all is whether you will be ready when it happens. May God bless you and your family. May the protection of Goshen cover your home. May the blood of the Lamb be on the doorposts of your door. And when the trumpet sounds, may you be found among those who will rise to meet the Lord in the air. The time is now, the hour is at hand, and eternity awaits those who answer the call.